As I sit now in the presence of love, aware of being one with the one divine mind, I dedicate this day to the process of awakening to my true nature. I know that without spirit I would not even breathe, and with spirit all things are possible. Today I am so grateful for this gift of life. I am grateful for the continued transformation of my life and for the spiritual gifts in my life. Today I ask you in the spirit world to guide me and show me how I may serve. May I see why I am here and what it is I need to know. May I go forth today as the spirit being that I am, experiencing the fullness of all life and receiving life in all its fullness in return. Today may I trust, relax, and see the perfection of life as it is unfolding. May I see how love is in all things and radiate love at all times. May I truly appreciate the oneness of all life and feel my connection with the all that is. And today, as I go forth as love, may I bring comfort, light, and love wherever I go. O God, my unseen helpers, as I sit here in communion with you and with the intention of knowing myself as part of you, may I be aware of your presence now and always in my life. Now may I be an open channel for this group and receive and convey the messages that are meant for them today. May I open to spirit that serves them in the highest and the best way. And so it is and ever shall be. Amen. I am not my breath. I am not even my body. I move beyond my mind. I move beyond thinking. I move beyond even a single thought. And I invite Samuel and my guides to speak through me. Welcome back. In his humanness, he goes through a procedure, a set of things he does before he makes contact, before he opens himself to us, for his convenience and comfort these are, not for ours. Is that not part of the humanness? These ways you get comfortable in. What is this upset you feel when there are changes in your life? What are these feelings? We suggest they are not even necessary, dear ones. Giving your mind something to occupy itself with. This ego wants to race off. Find things are amiss, so to speak. The procedure, the comfortable routine has been interrupted. What's going on? Why do we find sometimes change bothers us, disrupts us, causes us to think, causes our mind to wander to what ifs, thinking something has gone wrong because things are changing. Dear ones, things are changing constantly, all the time. Every breath you take, every step you take, every word you speak sends a ripple of change. Some subtle, some not so subtle. Is it not sometimes we choose to remain unaware of the changes going on around us? Startled he was today on his walk. A fox leapt out of the woods and raced across the path in front of them. and Wink gave chase. We suggest the fox was as startled as they were. His quiet woods invaded by these two other creatures that he was not used to, so to speak. A brief encounter. These old instincts, these fight or flight instincts, are always just below the surface, dear one. We speak again of awareness. He and his dear wife Laura driving along the other day, lost in conversation. Suddenly an oncoming police car turns on its sirens and rushes by, startling them both. But the awareness rose in them almost immediately that there was nothing to be concerned about. Is that not what occurs the majority of the time? These instances are triggered, dear ones. Are there any questions?
I have a question concerning meditation. The other day, I was listening to a musical frequency meditation, and it was an hour-long meditation. And I got in the tub, had some Reiki going, and the next thing I know, there's no more music. And I'm annoyed because it's supposed to be an hour-long meditation. Well, it was an hour-long meditation, and I went somewhere else for that hour. Where do we go? What is it that happens? What is that state? I don't feel like I'm asleep. It happens to Lisa.
Do you feel it more frequently now too, in general?
No.
No.
This was something really, it's supposed to be some kind of megahertz of something, and it was an old blessing and something else. Mm-hmm. And occasionally it'll happen with a regular meditation, but this was, I was out for almost an hour. Mm-hmm. And it happens to Lisa. She checks out. She calls it checking out. But where are we? What is it?
It's not theta. It's not that.
I don't know what it is. That's what I'm curious.
He found himself doing that this afternoon, popping in and out, so to speak, wondering where he went, how he came back.
And it's relaxing, but it's not sleeping.
And you didn't drown.
It was
Obviously,
really...
she's still here.
Ruby wouldn't let me drown. She'd pull me out for dinner. But what is it? Where do we go to another
Dimension.
Yeah. Is it something like an astral travel or something, or?
I think more of that's going on, period. Don't you guys? Because I'll be somewhere sitting, and next thing I know, I'm like, I don't even know where I am, like you. Yeah. Like you just said. Go ahead, Samuel.
We would phrase it more as a dimensional shift.
Shifted energies, like.
So we went to a different dimension, kind of, because everything is interacting, right? Even though we can't see it, correct?
All the dimensions are still here, whether you notice them or not. How you again, we struggle for words, dear ones, because how do we explain something you have no reference for?
Try, because I'm so curious. Dimensions is good start. But yet we feel relaxed. Not like
There's no fear.
There
at
is
all.
no fear in crossing dimensions, dear ones.
and there's no awareness of it though, or memory. For me,
Of the other
How
dimension.
shall we say there is no memory when you come back into this realm?
In other words, we're present in the other realm,
You're present in the other
realm, and we're alert and conscious probably. And then we come back here, and it's kind of like coming to
Yes.
Earth. We forget everything.
Again, we speak of consciousness as you have a reference for it in this human form.
Right. It's kind of
We
like
There are
speak of
diff-
spiritual consciousness, dear ones. Your spiritual consciousness understands where you were and how you got there and how you came back.
our higher being,
Higher self.
higher self. Huh. Did the frequency of this music help me to?
Help triggered your cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting. But
This
then-
meditation he's been listening to this week has been doing the same thing for him.
Holotropic breath work does that. You listen to the music and you actually get out of your body. And then you're
it's
in
called
another-
holotropic.
holotropic breath work. Jacqueline Small is the lady's name. But I've been to her class and it's amazing.
This one we speak through did they called it holistic breathing exercise this week.
So probably.
As we spoke earlier of these changes, sitting there, making these rather loud inhales and exhales for many minutes, even though he tried to still his mind. His mind would get active once in a while, thinking that nothing was happening. And then the emotion arose in him. Tears flowed from his eyes. Sobs rose from his chest. And as Mary Jo stated, when he came back, he could not fully grasp what had been released, but he knew something deep had been released.
So
He
when
felt a connection.
so was I releasing something when this was happening? Is that what happens when you do this, or not
No,
necessarily?
not necessarily. His was a release. Yours, you just went over there for a while.
You just what?
I just went over
Just
there.
went over there for a while.
I liked it, I'm pretty sure.
It is kind of like a little mini vacation. And then it's like, oh, I'm back in present.
But it was for almost an hour.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's no time
That
and
was
space elsewhere.
That's what I mean, yeah. That was,
I wouldn't worry about
We
it.
have
Oh, what was
discussed
it?
this
Where-
illusion of time and space before.
That's what's so cool about it. You do check out a little bit, and then it's kind of like, well, it really doesn't matter, you know.
and I kept looking at
It's like
the time.
Wonder Woman. Did anybody here see Wonder? I know Samuel probably didn't. I highly
Yeah, he
recommend it
saw
because
it,
the
I'm
message is love.
It is.
It is powerful, and it had a lot more violence in it than usual. And that's I'm aware that my body went through the violence. I think Samuel, because I was like, oh my God, I don't look at stuff like that.
Generally
But
speaking.
the message was just absolutely beautiful. But on this island, the Amazonian women, they had no time. And so this man shows up and he has a watch, and she asked what that was. And he says, well, that's how you know. She says, what do you want with that thing? And he said, well, it tells you when to get up and tells you when to have breakfast and lunch and dinner. And she said, why would you need that? And really,
These things we adapt in our humanness that we become dependent on.
yeah.
Would not your stomach tell you when to eat?
Right, exactly.
Babies do
Well-
instinctively.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean,
And when you don't have a fixed routine, you do. And I did go on a vacation once, and we decided we would put all the clocks away and everything like that. We were like eating dinner at 4 in the afternoon because we'd been at the beach, and we were hungry, and then we'd have to snack at night or something. But it was kind of like. Then somebody would cheat and tell us what time it was after it come nightfall. We ate dinner at 4 o'clock, and stuff like that.
That's what I like about traveling, because I don't use the clock. We just
Go
adapt to
ahead.
wherever we are and just
Yeah. But I don't know if Keith has seen Wonder Woman or Samuel.
he did, yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like so right on time.
we
Oh, it's so
loved it.
perfect for right now. It makes you want to just stand up and cheer with what especially her last message was. You felt like, yes,
really good.
yes, And I knew nothing about Wonder Woman. I didn't even read her comic
No,
books.
maybe to
But
But yeah, it's all
it was a
about
beautiful,
love.
interwoven story.
Yeah.
Questions, she asked questions. Why? What? Common sense and this and that. Yeah, really, yeah. It's an empowering movie to be out, and I understand. I was so encouraged to think, Samuel, that, it's a box office hit beyond box office. Of all time. Its time has come, and the message was there.
I was on Facebook, and this guy was very belligerent and kept calling females flakes, if they didn't believe like he did. And I said, and I hadn't seen the movie, but I had heard about it, and I said, it might be nice if you take an opportunity to go see that movie. Maybe it'd help you understand women better. But I don't know.
Life, love.
Well, that
Everything.
He needed that too.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously biased, big time.
But so rude, just so mean, that, because we don't agree with him, he call you names and stuff.
We suggest Mary Jo stepped into a dimension where she experienced no time.
Yeah.
She experienced
No time.
Oh, no time.
No time. She had a good time and no time.
Well, the holotropic breath work is you're laying on the floor and you listen to this intense, loud variety of music, and you go somewhere, and you have to have someone sit next to you to keep you there, because some people get up and start hallucinating and running around the room. But the awareness
Is that kind of like an astral travel or something? Or
I think it's like what she experienced.
is this called astral travel, Samuel?
I don't think holotropic breath work is. I think it's
You
conjuring up.
prefer shifting dimensions, do you?
Shifting dimensions. Okay, that sounds good.
What is the difference? Is there a difference between astral travel and shifting dimensions?
Can I give you the example that happened to me during this? Or after?
During the breath work?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had a partner, a lady there, I didn't know her, but we had to have partners so we could watch the other person. So she went first. Well, I'll tell you when I went. I went second, and I thought, I'd seen people running around the room, running outside. They'd have to go get them. It was bizarre. And the music is very intense, and it's very loud, and it's chanting. It's all kinds of music. But it affects your brain waves. So I kept thinking, well, I'm not going to have crazy like these people. This is nutty. And so, I'm laying there waiting for something to happen. And then all of a sudden I'm really into the music, and all of a sudden I'm in Germany. I'm in Berlin, in war-torn Germany, and I'm walking down the street like all those buildings are, been bombed out. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then all of a sudden, some of the therapists, I guess they could tell when there's something going on. And so they all sat around me and, just like doing Reiki or something, just putting their hand on me or just laying next to me. And some would say, just tell us what you're feeling, what you're seeing. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was carrying my mother's grief. My mother came over here from the war. She left her family, came to a strange country. And my father was abusive, so she was really alone, and she couldn't leave to go home, And I realized then I had been, in order to help her, I was carrying her grief. So anyway, it was a real interesting experience.
But you had an awareness. I had no awareness. So is that the difference? That
You had a no awareness of where you were. Is that what you're saying?
I had no nothing. It was just nothing.
Whereas you kind of went to another reality.
To another reality.
And you remember it. And I had none. There was none of that. I don't remember any of it.
Okay. But the music does affect you, and she would tell us that.
It's kind of
They
triggers. It triggers different.
They select certain music to do that, to cause you to dig up whatever is buried in there. But
This one he went through was very similar, dear one.
with the breathing,
Yes, the breathing, the music
Because
changed throughout.
right?
And there was an awareness.
The breathing.
Yes, I remained aware. He remained aware.
And then after we had to, while we were still in that state, we went into another room and we had to draw. They had all types of art, pencils, paper, everything, and you just started drawing.
So what kind of state is that then? That's not an astral travel, is it? What is that?
She traveled through time, did she not?
I did, yeah. Dimension.
This one we speak through remembers distinctly. There is the difference, dear ones, between the traveling and the shifting.
The memory, is that the difference?
Yes. The dear one, Eileen, that sometimes visits these circles, took him through a meditation at the church. As she traveled out into this solar system of yours, he felt like he went along with her, out past the planets, deep into space, guided to return. Just as Carol stated, he has a vivid memory, recollection of this traveling, so to speak, versus the shifting.
Is dreaming shifting in a way?
I bet it can be both too.
That's what we were going to say.
Yeah. You read Samuel's mind.
It depends on the dream, dear one.
Margaret Dexter put this thing out on Facebook this past week. And I've never been really too much into dimensions and don't pay too much attention. But she said she had come to an intersection
Oh, yeah. I read
and there was a car and something about, I guess it looked like it was going to hit her. And she must have braced for it, but it never happened. And then the car kept going, and so did she with no incident.
Right.
And she asked it on Facebook something about, is there something going on with the dimensions? Is that what she was experiencing? Something with another dimension?
Call that an angel.
Divine intervention is what we would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Well, Margaret's always been into these dimensional things that have
Oh.
been way over my head, and I just turned them off,
Well, I think angels are real active right now. I think they're overtime. They're on overtime, right, Samuel?
Always around you. Instances that you cannot explain. There are two distinct instances where this one has felt, and he can reflect with more perspective now than when they occurred, for he was very young. The first was in high school. Playing around in his father's car, he was on a snowy road, fishtailing, enjoying until all of a sudden he realized that he had lost control of the car. Careening towards a telephone pole they were. The car lurched to a stop. They all looked at each other. They had all braced for impact. There was no impact. The car sat askew in the road. They got out. The tire tracks were right next to the pole. They do not know. They could not fathom how, at the very last moment, they did not hit that pole. We suggest Sarah had a wee bit to do with that. There was another time when he was in the service much later, playing at the beach with his friends, when they noticed in the surf a huge timber, 50, 60 feet long it was. Very large, floating in the water. And in their youthful exuberance when it washed up on the beach, they decided to push it back out. As the waves came in, they coaxed it back into the waves. His friends were one on each end, and he was in the middle. Bad choice, dear one. When suddenly a large wave arose, he stumbled backwards, running, fell, heard his friends screaming, "Roll, roll, roll." And again, dear ones, laying on the beach with his chest heaving, when he finally opened his eyes and saw the timber just inches away. It could have crushed him, but it did not. For we were there in that instance also. Guiding him away from his foolishness. Protecting him.
Are you able to tell us, or do you know the name of our angels? Like my angel's name?
How do we say? Some wish to be known, some wish not to be known. Angels have personalities too, dear ones.
And they have big hands.
The one that surrounds you, that, how do we say? She is joyful and playful. She likes to coax that laugh out of you.
I think she works with Ralph. Yes.
Who's Ralph?
Who's Ralph?
My spirit guide,
Oh.
right? My guide. Who was a jokester.
My nephew would love that. His middle name's Ralph, and he doesn't like the name, but he's a comedian.
Oh.
And he said it was because of that name he had to become one.
Ralph.
This angel we speak of that likes to poke you, so to speak.
Does she whack me on the back of the head once in a while? Somebody does.
Jennifer, Jenny, you can call her Jenny. She does not care.
Okay, wonderful. I love to have a name to call them by. It just, even though I know they don't have to have names, the human part of me makes it easier. Yeah.
It feels easier to.
Yeah.
And pick a name that resonates with you.
Jenny sounds wonderful.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you.
It is the same when he asked about the council, when he became aware that there were others. And he became aware of Sarah and Thomas. And the council members basically told him enough of these names already. We have spoken of this before. We recognize each other by our energy signatures, dear one. By our light. Again, as you just spoke, in your humanness, you like to use these things you call names. In our spiritualness, we like to see.
We like to
The vibration,
see.
the energy, the subtleness of it, the beauty of it. For us, it is a much deeper expression than a name.
Samuel, when you look at us, or do you hear sound coming from us as well? Are we heard as well as seen as light, or a being, or?
How do we say this?
Do we resonate in a certain frequency?
Yes, your frequency has a sound.
Everything has a frequency.
It is as, how do we say, your scientists have discovered that your human range of hearing goes this far, so to speak, whereas the pup winks hearing goes higher. So even though we can say we hear your frequency, it is at such a high level that until you are in spirit, you will not hear it. Does that make sense to you, dear ones?
Yes.
It is beyond the range of the human hearing faculties.
Are we colors as energy? Do we show different colors?
You are everything, dear one. You
You
are
say
color, you are vibration, you are sound.
You say there's colors that we don't even know about.
That would be cool.
Colors we don't even know.
Vibrancy of colors.
Can't explain them.
Well, let me ask you a silly question.
No.
Well, wait. If dreams could be, what did we say? A form of astral travel? One night, I dreamt that I was up in the sky.
Ethers.
Yeah. And I looked like I was with hundreds of, we looked like little Gumbies, but we were all beautiful, different colors. And we were all smiling, and we were all just vibrating and shaking and laughing. Was that all?
That was Jennifer.
Mary Jo.
That was Mary Jo.
But in a way, it's color, it's vibration, it's all those things, and maybe I was in an altered state,
And hungry for
experiencing it. Yes, no?
Do not dreams seem like an altered state oftentimes?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I don't usually
Do not
remember.
things occur in dreams that if they occurred in real life, you would go, what?
I know.
I liked it though. It was
How?
fun.
Man, I'm tripping.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. We were just and laughing. Oh.
I had a beautiful dream the other night. That's unusual.
This one has dreams frequently where he's flying, seeing this world from a bird's eye view, so to speak.
That would be fun. He hasn't told me about any of those dreams.
Does he remember them, or is he remembering them now?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, for him, dreams are often fleeting. remembers them when he wakes up in the middle of the night and forgets.
Yeah.
But as he looks back through his memories, this is one of those. He has had 2 dreams that recur frequently. One of this is flying and one of them is falling. Never hits anything. Always wakes up at the last moment.
Samuel, I was speaking with a friend today, and they were saying that they had this dream. Well, they were asleep, and they were trying to wake up, but their eyes were like glued shut, and they just could not. And I had a similar instance happen, and it's only been once, but it was like I couldn't open my eyes no matter what. And she said she's had a dream like that frequently. And I said, well, isn't that frustrating? You know, would that be that you don't want to come back from wherever you are? Because it was a physical feeling as well, a struggle to actually try to raise the eyelid. Can you shed any light on that?
How do we say part of you wants to come back and part of you does not want to come back? There's a tug to come back, so to speak, and there's a wish to stay there.
Because it was a physical...
We think that's why this one enjoys dreaming of flying, the freedom of it.
But it might dreams just our subconscious telling us.
To soar, to glide.
Carol just said, aren't our dreams our subconscious?
Helping us heal some aspect of ourselves.
Well, and then one...
Again, you ask for a blanket answer. There are no blanket answers, dear ones. Yes, some are.
Yeah.
Some aren't. We spoke of colors. Not everything is black and white. That is one of these human traits. You want things to be crystal clear.
I guess it's part of the
Everything is continuing to evolve, dear ones. Everything is changing constantly. That's how we started this whole channel. Speaking of change. How even when we ignore change, it is still going on all around us all the time in all different manners. You spoke of that movie and you spoke of the context of love that it brought. Again, we just tell you, love finds new ways to express itself over and over and over and over again in your lives. Some you are aware of, some you are not. But love surrounds you every moment of every day. For you are that.
And now we
Sarah speaks of love beyond measure. Each one of you is an expression of that love. This rising in frequency, this rising in awareness we speak of. Shall we say, the higher you rise, the more you realize how much the love surrounds you. When he was in his 20s and he stopped and he looked at that timber laying on the beach, he had no concept. His mental faculties at that point just thought he was one lucky guy to not be crushed or maimed or even dead.
And Samuel, is there divine intervention until it really is our time? Do we keep them really busy?
You said they were busy. They are busy, dear ones.
What you said? He said they were busy.
And they are busy.
They are busy.
I kept mine busy.
I guess they're busiest with the teen years, huh? Teens and young 20s.
Do not you so know some people that still you won't question how mature they are.
Yeah.
It is not confined to your earth years, as you call them. Different people, different perspectives. But yes, the team years are typically ones where you will try anything for your brain. This thinking, processing tool you use hasn't developed all the way, hasn't got to the point where you start thinking of consequences before you take actions. In your teen years, typically you are much happier just taking actions. I'm sure each one of you can look back, as we have just demonstrated with this one, where there was a number of actions he took that were very foolish. Consequences he did not even consider. Hey, this thing floats, we'll just push it back into the water. No big deal. Quite a big deal when the surf can overpower 3 strong young men.
And are the angels really busy working synchronicities in our life? Is it the angels or guides? And it's a team effort?
You have a team, dear ones. He speaks of the council. Your teams can interact.
Because like in the case of that floating log, would it have been a joint venture among all the boys' other realm help? Or just...
The angels with the other boys knew of this one, knew it was not his time.
So that's probably why the boys yelled at you, roll, 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 and did what they could, or knew how to do at the
They
time.
easily stepped out of the way, even though the surf knocked them down.
I have an example I want to ask about this.
Well, go ahead.
Well, it was several years ago, and I was working for Owen Mills, and I was on the road and had to go to Nashville for some work, and there was a young girl that was working with me. We were creating training manuals for the photography studios, and then we would go to these different cities and install it and stuff. So in training, so this one, big phones, cell phones came out, the big analog phones.
Oh gosh, yes.
So I said, well, this is our first time on the road. We need to take a phone with us. So we each got a phone. She was a young girl. I felt like I was her mother. So we finished work early, and I said, well, I'll go to the hotel and wait for you. And the manager of the studio had made reservations for us at a Ramada Inn. So she said, okay. She said, I'll meet you there when I finish. So I drive up to the Ramada Inn, and something tells me not to go there. I can't drive in there. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And so I go across the street to the Holiday Inn, and I think, okay, I'll just get the room here. And so I go in and ask them how much it is, and they tell me it's a little bit more than the one that the manager had made. And this was our first trip, so I thought, oh dear, I guess I better go back and stay at that one because she might get mad. This is our first situation, so I didn't want to upset anybody. So I go back to the Ramada Inn, and I go to check in, and again, I'm thinking I don't want to be here. And so I asked the clerk when I check in, I said, has this place ever been robbed? And she says, what? And I said, have you ever been robbed? And she said, well, this is a motel. What do you mean? I said, okay, never mind. And so she gives me the key, and I go park, and it's, the rooms are on the outside, not on the inside. So I climb around, there's this concrete block around the stairs. So I go around it, and I go up the stairs to my room. And as soon as I walk in the room, I think, I can't get my suitcase out of the car. I just can't do it.
Wow.
And I'm in the room, and I'm like, I can't stay in this room. I can't stay here. And I look over at the door, and I notice that the chain latch is broken. So I call the front desk, and I say, I can't stay in this room. Please move me to another room. And she said, why? And I said, I don't feel safe in this room. I just need to be moved to another room. And please move Laura, the young lady that I'm traveling with, in the room next to me. So she said, okay, I'll bring you your keys. So she did. And I got in the other room, and I felt a little better, so I went and got my suitcase. I called my boyfriend at the time, and I was telling him how the apprehension I felt. It's just really, something's just not right here. And he said, well, are you in a bad part of town? I said, no. is the place nasty? I said, no. And he said, well, what is it? I said, I don't know. I said, I can't be here. I can't be here. And so we hung up, and I called another hotel, and I thought, I don't care what the manager says. I'm going to tell her tomorrow we're moving to another hotel. And so I made arrangements for another hotel for the next day. Well, Laura comes, and I told her, I said, well, your room's next door. I said, let's go get something to eat, and, we'll come back. And she said, okay. So we go get something to eat, and everything seems okay. I go back to the room. She goes to her room, and I get ready for bed, and I'm thinking, I need to go to sleep. And so I try to go to sleep, but I can't. There's just still something there. And I go and I look out the window to see if there's any evil. I just felt there was something evil. I go back and lay down, and then I hear somebody run past my room. So I thought, oh, maybe some people with children came in. And so I'm laying there, and all of a sudden I hear this blood-curdling scream, and this woman screaming, help me, God help me, please call 911. I mean, that was a horrific scream. And I thought, oh my God, what is this? So I remember Laura telling me that she lived where you live, in those apartments one time, and she said they had this big party, and she slept through the whole thing. So I remember thinking about that, that I needed to call her. No, I don't think I called her at that point.
Called Laura?
No, what I did was I went and looked. I went to look out the window, to open the curtains because it's a big glass window. And this woman is banging on my window, and she's got this black thing in her hand, which I can't tell what it is. And she's all dressed in red, and she's screaming, please call 911, help me, help me. And so I remember, in my mind, your mind thinks so many things, and I remember thinking, I've got to say this really loud so Laura next door can hear me. And so I yell at her, I'm calling 911, I'm calling 911. And, but I go to, and then, before she says that, this is the part I wanted to ask Samuel about. I go to unlatch the door to see why this woman is screaming before she comes back to the window and starts hitting it. I go to unlatch the door, and this hand, huge hand, hits mine and said, don't. I mean, just as clear as a bell. And I turned around and said, okay, I won't.
Oh my God.
It was like, don't open that door,
Wow.
But they didn't say open the door, they said don't. And I mean, I felt it. It was huge. I just remember feeling that huge hand. So I said, and then that's when I opened the curtains, and then that's when that lady was screaming and looking in my face. So anyway, then I called Laura, and she's heard the scream, and she's pressed up against the front door.
Did anybody call 911?
I did.
You're keeping me in suspense.
Yeah. But you have to understand the pieces so you understand the last part. So she's up against the door with her phone, and I tell her to get down on the floor because I don't know if this woman has a gun. I didn't know what it was. So anyway, I called the front desk, and I tell them, there's something going on. I said, you need to lock your front door. I said, because, the office was still open. I said, you need to lock the front door. I'm calling 911. She said, okay. So I called 911, and they said they're on their way. And a few minutes later, you see, the lights and everything. So I called Laura back, and we both opened our door to go step out on the balcony. Of course, everybody's out there looking to see what's going on. And I see the policeman, questioning this woman, or questioning some people. And I told him, I said, I called 911 too. And he said, okay, I'll be up there or something like that. And so we're still trying to process it. And I look down, and this woman steps out of the room, opens her door, steps out, and she's got that red outfit on, the one I saw. And I said, wait a minute, you're the lady that was hitting my window. And she said, yes. And she said, I'm sorry. And she said, I've got to explain to you what happened. So she came over, and she said, my husband and I are from Indiana, and we were going to Florida, Atlanta. And she said, we were tired, so he said, well, let's just stop here for the night. And she said, no, something told her, no, I don't like this place. I don't feel right. And he said, it's just going to be one night. I mean, the same thing that I had said, it's just going to be one night, and then tomorrow we'll stay somewhere else. And she's like, I just don't feel comfortable. And so she said she had a little purse with a long chain in it, and she had an antique watch that was her grandmother's. So So she stuck it in her purse as she was, as he was driving up. Sometimes you just take your jewelry out and stick it in. So she said they pulled in kind of right sort of where I had been before because that concrete wall was there. And she said they got out of the car. She was eating M&M's, she said, and this black man comes from behind the concrete wall with a stocking over his face and with a gun and puts it to her husband's head and, demands the wallet and wants her purse. And she thinks, that's my grandmother's watch is in that purse, she's thinking. And so her husband tells her to run. And so she said she takes her purse and slings it at the gun or at the man, and she starts running up the stairs. And that's who I heard running past my room. It was her. And but she said when she got past my room, there was another black man with a gun coming towards her. And that's when she took off her shoes. She said, and I was hitting windows, running backwards. And she said, but you were the only one that would look at me. And she said, and when you screamed, I'm calling 911, he took off. So it was like, that's why you had to get all the pieces to see why I wanted to scream, so Laura could hear me. And yet I was screaming, so he could hear me. Yeah.
So who held your hand?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Who held my hand and who told her the same thing, not to go to this hotel, to this motel? Okay, Sam.
Was it Bates Motel or something?
It was.
A guide and an angel.
Angel slapped your hand away.
That's what
Her
I.
guide was telling her not to go there.
Okay. I felt like it was an angel that had slapped my hand. I mean, I turned around to even see them. I thought then they had to be big because
Like the one that came up behind me in Gatlinburg.
The thought that was put in your mind to scream out, yeah, I'm calling 911 was
What?
also.
The what?
The thought.
The thought
Oh. Yeah,
to scream out 911 instead of just dialing 911.
Right, I had to yell it out. Before
That
I
thought came from her.
That thought
guide.
came from your guide. That thought came from the angels surrounding you.
Okay, because that's what I was like before I could
They
even
knew the
dial
situation was
911.
rapidly getting farther and farther out of hand.
The what?
What was?
The situation around them was getting rapidly out of hand,
Right.
and they felt they had to take dramatic
Dramatic
action.
action.
That's
But-
why you felt something that you normally would not feel, the hand slapping.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he didn't want me on that balcony.
I can tell you, I would never have gone to unlatch the door. With all that going on out there, I would never gone to unlatch the
Well,
door.
I
and
just
go
kept
up.
thinking that woman, I was going to let her in.
Samuel, why
I was
didn't she
thinking maybe,
listen?
she's in danger, maybe I could get her in the room, but
Samuel, why didn't Carol listen and that other lady listen and just go someplace else?
because I had to be, well, I wrote yes, but
Understand, even though you are surrounded by guides and angels and they are trying to assist you, they cannot countermand free choice. She chose to go to the other hotel, checked in, saw it was more expensive, and then chose to go back.
it was like I had to be there.
And
That's
again,
what-
as we spoke earlier about when it is your time.
So I wasn't afraid.
So really, Carol being there might have saved that woman and husband's life. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But, I mean, we don't know because the scenario was so out of hand.
Again, you speak of a situation that's rapidly escalating. Two people that were planning to rob others had no fear of using firearms to do so.
And we had heard that.
Again, even angels do not know the choices they would make. But they could see the situation was getting very out of hand.
And we had heard that there had been incidents in Nashville where the guys would be hiding in the hotel, or like they would tell us not to leave your door open, like even in an enclosed hotel, not to leave your door open because they were, apparently it was a rash of them. But I wasn't afraid. It was like I knew there was somebody there with me. I mean, the presence was just
Mhm.
huge. But I'll never forget that hand. I mean, it's a hard slap, and the words "don't" just as loud as could be, and I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to be dramatic, as you say.
Yeah, because I probably would have opened the door if they hadn't said that. And when I looked down, when she came out of the room, and she went back and I looked, and it was the room I was supposed to be in the first time, but I couldn't
Oh my
stay in.
gosh.
That was
Mhm.
the room she and her husband were in.
Wow.
I was like, oh, wow.
Mm. I have one question. If somebody channels or contacts, is there a difference in the vibration if you speak to, say, a person that has crossed over? I guess there is, and say an angel or like Samuel, and it's higher vibration.
Can you ask the questions that you already know the answer to?
Well, I didn't realize until I was saying it, but somebody was telling me that they don't like talking to dead people. You know, and I thought of times when Keith would contact someone that had passed over, and they said the reason is because the vibration is so much lower. And I guess I was wondering if you...
Angels are much higher, guides are much higher.
So I guess Keith could experience that feeling of the lower vibration too. And maybe
Just
that's...
as she experienced at the hotel, the lower vibration of those two characters.
And when you woke up
She
that...
sensed it.
And when you woke up that night and that woman's face was there, maybe that was someone that was passed over, so it was a lower vibration? Is that possible?
No, it was a real face.
No, it was her.
It was
her.
in live.
real
It was
time.
all
It was in
unwinding.
real time, yeah.
She opened up the blinds and the lady was there banging.
No, at your house. When one night you woke up, you said there was this face in my face.
Oh, yeah, that was
Oh.
a couple weeks, yeah. That,
But I was thinking maybe that was a lower, somebody that was passed over, so it's a lower vibration.
I felt it was somebody who was wanting to contact me, and I just was too tired to mess with them.
Well, I was just thinking if there was
They
a
wanted to talk,
difference.
and I was like, go away, I'm not ready.
Each one of you in this room are at a different vibration. Each one of the guides that surrounds this one are at a different vibration. Each one of the guides that surround each one of you is at a different vibration.
So just necessarily.
All is, how do we say, unique?
But just because someone has crossed over, say a regular old person, well, or was regular, that doesn't necessarily mean they're at a very low vibration.
No.
Well, see, when I felt something...
When a saint
look,
crosses over, his
I
vibration does not lower.
Lower, yeah.
Well, I was just
He
wondering.
carries his vibration with him. Or her. Whoever it is.
It probably gets better though as they go into the next
As you
dimension.
grow.
Yeah, because they're surrounded by love over there and memory of, oh yeah, everything is all right. Everything is perfect. And in divine.
One of the reasons you choose this earthly experience is to grow. To raise your vibration while you're here.
Well, I
To
was-
go through these experiences to allow you to gain a new perspective, so to speak. Just as he was saying, just in this lifetime, he has a completely different perspective at the age that he is at now than when he was 20, whatever, 22, when that timber almost washed over him. Again, we speak of awareness, perspective, and this thing we call your vibration, your energy signature, how it rises. choices you can make. The example she gave, if that man with the mask had pulled the trigger, his vibration would have dropped dramatically. Or taking another's life, or harming another severely. Being that it was pointed against his head, we would say the first.
Well, thank you, Samuel, for coming to visit with us this evening.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you, dear ones.
Thank you.
Kept you busy.
We appreciate you. We remind you you are here to grow in love, for you just are that. Expressions of love. And we bid you adieu.
Do one to do now.
Hmm?
No more two or do's, just one to do.